All right, everybody, welcome and thank you for joining us this morning for 1 Million Cups. What? We have some stuff. See, you mess with my head. Every time I get heckled, it ruins everything. Thanks, Steve.
I'm heckling it with my silence.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so today we have Ann Davis, sure, Venture with Impact. So she'll be presenting here in a few minutes. Before we get to that, we'll go around, do some introductions, give everybody a moment to say their name, talk just a little bit about what you do, and then we will jump into the presentation. I'll kick us off. My name is Trezzy. I'm a senior software engineer for Mobile Doorman and a CTO services consultant.
My name is Diana Pastrana. I am currently in a job search looking for operations work, hopefully at a small company startup.
I'm Josh Helling. I'm an entrepreneur with a background in software product development. I consult with startups and other companies on technology and product strategy.
Good morning, everybody. Steve Claude, co-founder of 32 Auctions, a silent auction site for anyone looking to host, manage, fun, easy, successful silent auctions.
We'll skip that. I can go. I'm Maddie Niebauer. A few years ago, I founded vChief, which is a virtual chief of staff service.
I'm Derek Kebler with Town News and a co-organizer.
Hi, I'm Theo, and I am an artist and I build web stuff.
Andrew Gonzalez with Park Bank in business banking.
I'm Chase Rizek. I'm primarily a career coach with Flatiron School for software developers and also do life and leadership coaching.
Peter Cabby, Wealth Management Advisor with Merrill Lynch.
I'm Chuck Sayre. I'm a patent and trademark attorney at DeWitt Ross & Stevens. And it looks like I'm going to take my tie off.
I forgot to tell you about that little part, sorry.
I'm James Cademan. I have calls on call phone answering service for small businesses.
All right, great. One more time, thanks everybody for being here. I also want to thank our sponsors real quick. Dream Bank for the space, Starting Block for the ongoing support. And with that, we'll kick it over to our presenter, and let's hear it for Ann.
Ooh. It's good to see you. I love your hair.
All right. So my name is Ann Davis, and I'm the founder and co-partner of Venture with Impact. We're a social impact travel company, and primarily what we do is we have 1-month programs for professionals and families. They come to one of our cities abroad. We set them up with everything that they need to work remotely for their job back home. And in their free time, they work for a few hours each week on a custom pro bono project with a local partner organization, and also participate in cultural events and activities around the city. So also just founder's story, a little background. In 2016, I was living and working abroad in Peru for a few local nonprofit organizations, and there just found that there's a lot of administrative issues related to accounting, finances, fundraising, sales, marketing. And then additionally, I had a lot of friends, family, and colleagues back home who wanted to make more of a social impact in their current positions and just wanted to be able to travel more. But it's very difficult with a full-time job. So Ventures in each of our locations, they live and we provide accommodation with reliable internet and backup satellite internet, as well as co-working space. And we also plan professional development workshops, cultural activities, some of the things that I mentioned before to really dig deeper into the local culture of the city and the country where they're spending that 1 month or that period of time. They're working for their jobs back home, either part-time or full-time. So I'd say about 60 to 70% of our ventures work remotely, and the rest of them are taking time off of work or between jobs. And then Additionally, each of them are matched with a custom skills-based volunteer project that is dependent on the needs of our local partners. The local nonprofits vary in all different types, from environmental to domestic abuse and violence. It could be an animal shelter. We work with social banks, all sorts of nonprofit organizations, and the match is also dependent on the specific professional skills as well as the interests and the remote work schedule of each of our participants. So some of the reasons why employees have received permission from their companies to participate with us. 89% of companies report better retention by offering flexible work options. 90% of professionals agree that volunteering improves employees' broader professional leadership skill sets. And 80% of professionals prefer to work for a socially responsible company. So a company that has a CSR, corporate social responsibility plan. So what do the pro bono projects look like? Here's one example of one of our ventures, Alyssa. When she was in our program, she worked for Pearson Education in London, and she volunteered with us in Peru in February of 2017. She worked with a women's collective, our partner organization, Moche, and she has a background in marketing, so she assisted them in packaging and pricing their artisan products to bring to market in Peru and then also in the United States. These products are also being sold throughout the US online. Moche is one of our nonprofit partners in Peru. They are a heritage organization. So they are dedicated to improving the standard of living of impoverished communities, preserving archaeological sites throughout northern Peru. And then they also work with local populations to help them better understand the importance of these archaeological sites. So they support them. Here's just what the stationery that these women creates is one of their products, and then the packaging that Alyssa came up with. So just a quick example of a day in the life of a venture. So Alyssa might get up early in the morning, take a call with her team in London. She spends a typical 8-hour workday, 40 hours a week on work projects from her apartment or the local co-working space in Trujillo. And then she works with the women of Moche a few days each week. Really, it's dependent on the person, but people generally work 2 to 15 hours a week with their local organization, depending on their personal time, their personal schedule. And then oftentimes people come together in the evening to do different activities. For example, we would always do a Peruvian cooking class and make fresh ceviche. Some other examples of projects. So Bill Williams, who is, Nick Williams, who's a content creator. He filmed and produced an informational video for one of our partner organizations in Medellin, Colombia, which is another of our locations. You can see some of the skills that he developed. So although he had experience in filmmaking, this was just continuing to develop his professional skills as well as his Spanish. And then another example of one of our ventures, Nick Diaz. He works in recruitment and partnerships for Teach for America, and he worked with another organization, partner organization in Medellin, and they create prosthetics using 3D printers and give these prosthetics to Colombians that have been involved in the Colombian conflict. So he was helping them develop a plan for corporate partnership, which has allowed the organization with tools to reach out to both local and international businesses in order to get sponsorship and funding. So our locations this 2019, Medellin, Colombia is one of our locations that we've been in for the past 2 years. Chiang Mai, Thailand, we've been there for the past year and we'll continue programs there this upcoming year. Lisbon, Portugal. Also, we've been there for about a year. And our newest location, this upcoming summer, we're adding a program and trips in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, which is located about 4 hours northeast of Mexico City. Personal impact. So these are just some testimonials of some of the ventures that have participated in our programs, including Robert Contreras, who works in education policy. And he talks a little bit about the network that he found from Venture with Impact. Each program or each trip has between 5 and 15 professionals and all different backgrounds. We've had engineers, educators, entrepreneurs, lawyers, people with various backgrounds in business, from accountants to marketing to graphic design. And people, in addition to working on their projects, they help each other out, and then they also are spending a lot of time together throughout the month. And then also Tim Pierce, who's an entrepreneur in New York, he came up with his current business idea while abroad with us. So what sets us apart from other travel companies? So personalization. Each of the projects are customized and carefully sourced. So we have between 10 and 15 local nonprofit and social enterprise partners in each of our 4 locations. And we get a good understanding of their needs and maintain that relationship from month to month. And then we also speak with each of our participants prior to their arrival, interview them, review their resume, so that we can get a really good understanding of the ways they want to develop professionally, and then we match. Honest prices. So we are one of the most affordable workation programs in the industry, and then a wonderful team. So we have local people on the ground in each of our locations running our programs. Here are some of the things that are included in our trips, and we've recently started shorter trips, starting from 3 days, and these are more custom retreats. So we're partnering with or providing custom retreats for companies as well as organizations such as a yoga studio, a career and life coach, a culinary travel company we're partnering with. So we have a few other shorter trips in the works. And this is the impact template, just an overview of the impact template that that people use to help them guide them in their projects. This is our pricing model. And if you can, please follow us. We're on all the social media networks, and our website is just venturewithimpact.org. Sorry, one more. And then finally, if you can just please share Venture with Impact. That's my big ask of you today. So, sharing with your friends, family, and colleagues. We've had ventures ages youngest 23, oldest 76. We now accept college students. We've had employers and companies, for example, Pearson Education, Amazon, Epic here in Madison. We've had 2 employees from Epic, Google, so many small and large companies, employees have participated with us. And then, like I mentioned before, we're now partnering or providing custom retreats for organizations such as yoga schools, church groups, Rotary. So anybody that you have in mind that you can put us in touch with, we'd greatly appreciate it. And one more, so this is just our progress. To date, we've had 90 ventures participate in our 1-month programs plus families, so the total with children has come to about 110. They've come from 80 plus companies and organizations. They've completed 72 projects, pro bono projects, with 22 local organizations in 4 countries around the world. And that's it. Yeah, thank you.
My first question is very personal. I have 2 children. I'm a single mom. Would you be able to do a trip like this for a family?
Yeah, so we've had between 10 and 15 families participate. We actually just had a single mom bring her 8-month-old and her 3-year-old to Thailand. She brought her mother as well, to be fair, to help take care of the kids, but yeah.
Because that would be a cool experience as a family too, you know, over a summer. Like, what does your scheduling look like? Do you have specific dates and you book people, or is it, okay?
Yeah, so I can, we can talk after and I'll get our itinerary. So we're in different countries throughout different times of the year.
Okay. Related to that, I'm curious, like, it sounds like you have a really wide range of ages, right? Like, how are you, like, what types of, is that by design, and do you customize things differently at all, or do you just sort of say, okay, like, everybody loves a cooking class, let's go do that, or, and do most of your people tend to be more like millennial ages, or do you have...
Yeah, so we definitely, the majority are early 30s, mid-career professional. This has been the range. The range was between 23 to 76. And we do really customize each of our, each of the programs, because we, like I mentioned, we have local staff in each of the 4 locations. And because they're small groups, between 5 and 15, the local staff will really get a good idea of people's interests. And they know the city so well. So if somebody's really into jazz, they'll take everybody to a local jazz club. If somebody's really into learning about the tiles within Lisbon, they'll set up a tile making workshop, things like that. Yeah. Same goes with professional events and activities. These 4 locations, they're known for remote work, or this new term, I don't know if people have heard of it, digital nomads. So Lisbon, Medellin, San Miguel, and Chiang Mai are all locations where there's international people from all over the world coming to work remotely. So it's a really good opportunity for people to, network and learn, from the other professionals that are in the city.
How does the employer sponsorship, how common is it? I mean, it sounds like that's an element. Like, is that
so what's most common? What is most common is that we've had employers like Pearson, I'm trying to think some of the other companies. Epic has shared it with some of their employees. Other companies as well shared the opportunity with their employees, but they don't sponsor, they don't pay for it. We have had a few smaller companies and organizations. We had an environmental consulting company that sponsored their employee to participate. We're really hoping that it moves in that direction, that companies are more and more valuing work-life balance and flexibility and remote work. But I think we'll see them investing more in these types of programs, because right now it's definitely, especially in tech and some other industries, it's becoming more competitive. So it's a good way to attract and retain employees, especially because it can cost $30,000 plus to recruit and train a new employee. Yeah.
And it could be like an interesting alternative to just a standard, what's that called, sabbatical that a lot of companies are offering now.
So we have a lot of people that come on sabbatical. Yeah, exactly.
Have you heard the term total benefits package?
So yeah.
This is something that I've heard a couple times being tossed around, like in HR communities, where it's like, what else can you offer your employees if you can't offer, fantastic. So this really, like, with a lot of local companies trying to compete or attract people out of Epic, they want to do something similar to Epic, but maybe can't afford like a full sabbatical. This could be a really good mesh in. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, especially for millennials, but anybody. Yeah.
So far, as I've understood it, the emphasis has been kind of on the where, and so how diverse is the what you would do? What kind of volunteering opportunities? When you go to Lisbon, is there like one thing that you're there to do, or once you get in base camp, can you then go into different areas of volunteering and exploration?
So the way that the volunteer match works is ahead of time, we interview each of our ventures that are coming on the trip and look at their resume, but also ask them what skills do you want to hone and develop, and what interests do you have. And then because we have really strong relationships and we could have a good understanding of the needs of our partner organizations on location, then we'll create a custom project and of course get approval from the participant, from our client, before the matching process is completed. They work on that project for a few hours each week, and that really, they need that time to build the relationship and complete the project. But they also they have the opportunity to visit the other organizations where their fellow ventures are volunteering or working, they're working with, and then we plan, different events and activities for them throughout the city, curated off of their specific interests. Does that answer your question?
Can you cover the pricing again and give a little bit more insight on what's all included in that?
Yeah, I really glazed over that.
Yeah, and I'm curious just more broadly, just to build on that question about sort of your revenue model and are you the only full-time staff member and
sure,
how that all.
Yeah, so okay. And
the prices seem really affordable.
Right, exactly. I think I'm okay. So the region, it ranges from $750 to $3,200 is because now we have 3 to 4 day retreats that we are putting on. So that's the lower end. In terms of our 1 month programs, they range from at full price without discount, $2,100 to $2,500. So $2,500 is Portugal, which makes sense because it's a little bit more of a, the cost of living there is a little bit higher. And then Colombia, Thailand, and Mexico are $2,100. They include modern accommodations, so a 2 to 3 private room and a 2 to 3 bedroom apartment. People really enjoy living with, the other ventures in the program with 1 or 2 other people. Families receive their own accommodation always. The 24/7 support from local staff. We have an orientation at the beginning of the program, which includes a city tour, welcome dinner. And the first week, we set everybody up with their partner project, so the customized project match is of course included. And then we bring them to their partner organization and help them set up their schedule for the month. And then it also includes a day trip, a language crash course, and just, other additional optional activities and events throughout the trip.
So you're allowed to get your own airfare and your own food?
Airfare and food. There's a couple meals that are included, but yes. And then all the accommodation have kitchens. Yeah.
I'm sorry, it doesn't include airfare or no?
It does not.
It doesn't. What about retired people? Do you have any retired?
Yeah, we've had a number of retirees come and join us because 60 to 70% of people are working remotely part-time or full-time, but the rest are there, they might do a few more hours with their partner organization, but really the time flies by just exploring the city, going on weekend trips, or, doing your own personal projects. We've had, you don't have to be working remotely to have a lot to do during the holiday.
Do you pick?
No, go ahead.
Do you pick the locations in advance, and are they always outside of the United States?
So we are now offering New Orleans as well for custom retreats. So which means that if a company or organization wants to have a retreat there, we will set that up for them. So from the social impact experience and so for our 1 month programs, we do these project matching, but for shorter retreats, there's the social impact component is often different activities with nonprofits that we have partnerships with. So for example, in Lisbon, there's an organization that it's a social enterprise restaurant, and they train refugees and immigrants in hospitality, and so we'll always go to their restaurant and do a cooking class with them. That's just an example of how we integrate social impact into our shorter retreats when there's not quite enough time to do the pro bono projects. Yeah.
I'm curious, I feel like there's a lot of backlash these days about sort of like volunteer education, vacations.
Yeah.
And it seems like your model does a good job of like actually bringing specific technical support that organizations would need that couldn't necessarily be met with local, talent. I'm curious if you've just gotten any backlash or like, negative feedback from anyone about that.
We haven't, we just have people ask questions.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had any negative backlash. We're still very small as well. So, but I think that the answer to that question is always, what we're trying to do is really meet the needs of a local organization and provide a resource that they could otherwise not get locally or afford. So we don't feel that we're taking away local jobs. We don't feel like the ventures, our clients are just there, to feel like they're doing something, like we're trying to come up with metrics as well to measure the impact over time that our clients or our ventures are having too.
Just a question about the co-working space, like for somebody that's like on video calls primarily, like would you basically be guaranteed like a private space to have calls?
Yeah, so the co-working spaces that we work with, they all have private meeting rooms. It's a hot desk, so you'll come in and you can sit wherever you want. You can go to a side space for meetings, all of them minimum 100 megs internet. The apartments also have at least 20 megs internet, plus we give each apartment like a hotspot backup internet device. So we know that internet's really the bread and butter of what we're doing. Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this, and what are the biggest mistakes that you've encountered that you've learned from?
Yeah, well, speaking of internet, so we started in northern Peru, which is still somewhat of a Peru in general is very developing. Even Lima doesn't have the best internet connections in certain parts of the city, and we were in the north. So we had to end. We ran 4 or 5 months of programming there, and then we had to step away because people were just having some issues with the internet. So we definitely learned from that. We started in January 2017 was our very first month, and then since then we've had 17 months of programs in those locations.
Are you choosing locations based on having people on the ground that are familiar, or are you finding people after you choose the location? Like, what's your location?
It's been a bit of both. Initially, we had connections in Peru, we had connections in Colombia, but then we did a survey for our network where they voted on the top. We had a list of destinations that we knew were great for remote work, but then the top choices were Portugal and Thailand. So that's how we started those 2 locations, and then with Mexico we also had connections, and we knew it's a bit closer to the US, and also becoming more and more popular. Travel and Leisure magazine rated it as their top voted location to travel to in 2017 and 2018. Yeah.
I'm just going to keep asking questions if that's okay. This seems like it wouldn't be bound by the location of the person who started it. So what's your plan for getting this out to professionals all over the world, essentially?
Yeah, so right now, we initially, and it still is definitely a referral and word of mouth, but we have honed in on some of our most effective marketing techniques. So I can tell you more about what has been successful for us in terms of marketing, but we do a lot of content creation, guest blogging. We participate in email sweepstakes where we've given away a couple of our trips, and then to grow our email list. So those have been some of our most successful things. SEO takes a long time to initially at least 6 months to start to see your rank increase. But if you really want an internet presence, I think really organic internet presence, it takes a few years. So we're starting to reap the benefits of that as well. More people are finding us just through Google search.
Is anybody else doing this? I mean, there's a lot of people doing the like remote year and all that stuff, but with the impact.
Nobody's doing exactly what we're doing. So yeah, so Remote Year is a company. They do just the co-working retreats. They have no social impact component. That's quite the same.
Are you based here?
We're based in Milwaukee. So yeah, incorporated in Wisconsin and based in Milwaukee. And last year we participated in the G-Beta generator program. I know generators here as well.
More questions? And how would people reach out to you if they have any other questions later?
Yeah, I'm having live business cards, but really simple. Our email address is info@venturewithimpact.org, or social media.
Great. Let's hear it one more time for Anna. Quick note before we wrap up: if you haven't already, download the 1 Million Cups app and check in. That's it. I'm done.